Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going on a bit of an unusual journey, you could say.
Definitely. We're looking at some sources that promise, well, some pretty unexpected insights.
Exactly. We've
Yeah.
got this one source detailing an esoteric hypnosis protocol. It claims to reveal really astonishing stuff about a figure called Pope Leo XIV.
Yeah, everything from past lives, his election on a sort of metaphysical level, even hidden agendas.
But here's the twist, and this is what makes today really interesting, I think.
Right. Well, that first source gives us all this incredibly specific detail.
Uh-huh.
Our second source just slams on the brakes. It offers this blunt critique of investigative hypnosis itself.
Fundamentally questioning the whole method, basically.
Exactly. Is this even a reliable way to get information?
So our mission today is to kind of unpack both sides for you. We'll explore the claims from source one about this Pope Leo XIV figure first.
All those details, the revelations.
Yeah. And then we're going to step back and look really critically at the method itself using that second source.
Helping you navigate what are, honestly, some complex and pretty surprising claims.
Absolutely. So let's get into it.
Oh, okay.
So source one starts with what it calls a mixed esoteric hypnosis protocol.
Right. It involved a hypno-operator, the person guiding it, and a support operator named Marjanna, who was actually the one in the hypnotic state.
She was the one channeling the information.
Apparently, yes. And the subject was Robert Francis Prevost, identified in the protocol as Pope Leo XIV.
Okay. And what did Marjanna perceive about him?
Well, first off, his etheric DNA. And just for clarity, etheric DNA here means like his non-physical energetic blueprint.
Gotcha.
She saw it as human, but with these sparks. That's the word used.
Sparks.
Yeah, described as modified in some way, but not like hybridized by another race or anything. They felt personal to him for this lifetime.
Interesting. Sort of unique energetic markers.
Exactly, like distinctions in his signature.
Okay. And what about the moment of his election? This was seen on a metaphysical plane.
Yes, which the source describes as, a non-physical realm where intentions, energy patterns manifest separate from here.
Right.
And the election looked like a machine. That's the image. All the gears interlocking, becoming completely smooth, no obstacles.
So not just a vote, but like destiny or mechanism.
More like a mechanism. He
Hmm.
was seen as a perfect element fitting into a larger project, like the missing puzzle piece just slotting in.
Wow.
And what's really striking is that this involved energetic shifts. Some energies were apparently braked, slowed down, while others took speed. It created something new, like a new mixture or a recipe.
A new plan, basically.
Yeah, and this new plan was perceived as more effective, making it easier to reach the goal, whatever that goal is. Suggests a kind of calculated energetic setup.
What about his past? Anything on that?
Source claims he was a great scientist, a physicist, actually.
A physicist.
Yeah, Scandinavian origin, worked mostly in Switzerland, focused on energies. So quite different from a pope, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. And his pre-reincarnation state, how did he get from physicist to this?
Well, the story gets pretty dramatic there. His death as a physicist was traumatic. An explosion during an experiment.
Oh, wow.
Perceived as nuclear, apparently. Instant disintegration, immense heat. But he was conscious, in shock.
Conscious during disintegration.
That's the claim.
Right.
And he eventually stayed, trying to halt chain reactions, feeling like a savior.
Okay, that's intense.
And then he didn't leave his body voluntarily. He was taken away.
By who or what?
Doesn't explicitly say who, but implies entities. He was attracted by promises to let him analyze the same things he worked on.
The energies.
Right, but from a completely different perspective, a non-physical one.
And he accepted this.
Accepted it. And those sparks in his etheric DNA, they're described as sockets or receivers that enable this different kind of perception of the physical world, like they wired him for it.
Okay, so the name itself, Leo XIV, did the protocol pick up anything on that vibrationally?
It did.
Yeah.
And it's fascinatingly dualistic. The vibrational root, the underlying energy. The first hit was dark, blood of victims, suffering.
Yikes.
But then, from another angle, it shifted completely, signifying salvation, liberation from prison, chains, bonds.
So darkness and light in the same name.
Seems so. It's seen as a key to open the world, bring light, like a savior bringing very important changes.
But it needs a push.
Exactly. Powerful energy, but needs external stimulation to expand. And when it does, enormous expansion and opening of people's eyes, sweeping away residues of hundreds of years, Sounds huge.
Like a total reset. Does this connect to any known prophecies?
The source links it to one in England about the Catholic Church.
Oh, really?
Yeah, supposedly known by the English, attributed to a truthful prophetess whose predictions tend to come true.
And the prophecy mentions?
The appearance of a shield with a lion design. Leo, the lion.
Makes sense. Okay, let's zoom out. Geopolitical impact, according to this protocol. How's this election felt around the world?
Well, Europe is seen as paralyzed, feeling fear, concern, danger, even risk of invasion. Very unstable.
Wow. What about America?
The opposite. Enormous euphoria. A sense of one of us has returned, becoming the king of the continent they originated from, like reclaiming something.
Interesting contrast. In Africa?
Not indifference, surprisingly. More like security. A feeling of being apart, out of the direct spotlight.
Things are still happening there.
Oh, yeah. Beneath that surface calm, there are small battles, wars, black market stuff, illegal activities like slavery, people being displaced or robbed. Complex.
And Russia.
A specific phrase came through, supposedly the thought of the head of the Orthodox Church. It will be easy to confront and find an agreement with this new pope.
Why easy?
Because he's seen as very lively, different, not a conservative, someone bringing change.
So the overall picture is his influence is felt everywhere, but in really different, almost tailored ways.
Exactly, fitting into existing narratives almost.
Okay, so his actual pontificate. What does the source say? How long? What does he do?
Initially, the number 17 came up, perceived as years.
17 years.
But then it morphed into an infinity symbol, the sideways 8.
Infinity. So not just 17 years, maybe symbolic.
This is just something much bigger in scope, yeah. And within the Vatican. Big changes. He's seen sweeping away the mold and dust, revealing what shines.
Cleaning house?
Very much so. Energetic, great at diplomacy, but an internal kind, not imposed. Sensitive, fearless, but also able to coldly calculate pros and cons, detached from emotion.
That's a complex personality mix.
And his diplomatic skill is tied into this new geopolitical setup. He can collaborate, plan, design, offer solutions. He can reshape things.
Reshape how?
The analogy used was making an apple appear as a pear. He can remodel things that already have a form, change their appearance or perception.
So capacity for transformation, maybe even deception?
That's one interpretation. His program is described as finding what's important in the church and sweeping away what's harmful to people, the faithful.
Sounds positive.
But it's presented as just a stage, not the ultimate goal. He will strip the church to build something completely different. Same structure, maybe, but a totally different appearance.
Like a radical rebranding.
Exactly. The aim is to give a sense of freedom, not being forced or imprisoned, to attract more people, especially those who felt distant before.
How does he achieve that?
By sweeping away what's called stale energy. And the source claims specific, drastic actions.
Like what?
Like he will completely eliminate and expel current priests and bishops who are only protected because they received consecration.
Whoa. A purge.
Essentially, yes. To create a clean, pure church with freedom to express. That's the stated goal.
But you mentioned an underlying intention earlier.
Ah, yes. Crucial point. While he's cleansing and reshaping, the source claims it's not ultimately for giving God's love to more people.
Then for what?
He's perceived as being used by forces, entities, the same ones who implanted the sparks.
The non-human ones.
Right. They use him to attract people, and these entities gain from this movement. The altruism is supposedly a front.
So that perfect interlocking machine from his selection.
Yeah.
What's its purpose?
According to this source, for 93% of humanity to be convinced to find love in this new church.
93%. That's almost everyone.
It's huge. The church becomes a gate or portal to welcome as many as possible into this machine.
A conversion project on an industrial scale.
Pretty much. And the energy of this new church will be different. Different shades of love, different shades of pain. Pope Leo XIV brings the missing ingredients to make it all run smooth.
And these entities behind it. More on them.
They're etheric DNA, not human. A mixture with only about 1% human DNA, and symbolically one was seen as very obese. Suggests something consuming, maybe?
Non-human, mixed DNA, using the Pope.
No.
And their reach.
Complete connection with the entire globe,
Right.
like a network or spider web. It links to this idea of unification.
Unification. How?
By analyzing all ancient writings in every religion to find a common point, that common point becomes the basis for this new church, a global religious synthesis.
Wow. That's ambitious. Anything else stand out?
A couple of things. The word imprisonment came up again, linked to an unresolved situation for the current pope. And changes regarding LGBTQ plus association are foreseen, but only partial, like only a left side or feminine part aligns with this change. The other part isn't compatible yet, needs more time, energy, different vibrations.
So limited acceptance, not a full embrace.
Seems that way. And back to those sparks in his DNA.
The receivers.
They're also seen as hooks or attachments for these entities. They connect him to politicians, even conservatives and political organizations.
So he expands his network.
Massively. He becomes a door or conduit linking previously isolated energy sources and organizations. It serves unification politically as well as religiously, all driven by these entities.
What about the Pope himself? Is he aware of this?
The source perceives a conflict inside him between his subliminal deeper self and his rational mind.
I'm no rational mind.
It knows the program. It understands where it will lead the church, implying some level of awareness or complicity.
Heavy. And what about after him? A successor?
Perceived, yes. But their pontificate will be very brief, maybe not even presented to the believers. A quick transition.
And finally, that number 17, becoming infinity. What's the ultimate meaning there?
It's tied to this idea of a person who believed to save and be saved.
Leo XIV.
Presumably, but who unfortunately brings people into an infinite prison.
An infinite prison? How?
Directly connected to that new unified system, it's seen as everything locked in. Smooth, yes, but with no way out. A project to enslave people with a fake sense of freedom.
Goodness. That is it. A chilling conclusion to that whole narrative.
It really is. A very detailed, very specific, and ultimately quite dark picture painted by this protocol.
Okay, so we've just spent time deep inside that first source with all its, frankly, astounding claims derived from this specific hypnosis protocol. It's quite a story.
Yeah, it is.
But now we need to pivot dramatically.
Right.
Because our second source comes at this from a completely different angle.
Right. It challenges the entire premise of using investigative hypnosis for getting factual information, calls it absolutely useless and highly contaminated.
That's a pretty strong statement. Absolutely useless.
It is, and the source explains why. It argues information travels through so many layers, many dimensions, different densities, different consciousnesses.
Like playing telephone across realities?
Kind of, yeah. Each step distorts it. But crucially, it's also filtered through the hypnotized person themselves.
How so?
Their own consciousness, their mind, their experiences, mental structures, beliefs, culture, education, even past life stuff, apparently. All of it interprets and further distorts whatever information comes through.
So, multiple layers of potential distortion.
Exactly. The source uses analogies like trying to communicate underwater, or using different languages, or reading really garbled body language. Extreme difficulty, high chance of misinterpretation.
So getting a clear, factual report from a single session, basically impossible, according to this view?
Pretty much. Inherently compromised.
Then what is the point of hypnosis, according to this second source, if not for investigation?
For the client, the person being hypnotized, it's different. The information isn't about memorizing good data about others. It's a vehicle of movement. Meaning it helps the client identify and work on their own esoteric problem, their personal spiritual or energetic issues, blockages. It's therapeutic, not investigative reporting.
Okay, that makes sense as a distinction. But if single sessions are so bad for facts, can you ever get reliable info via hypnosis?
This source says true investigation is long, difficult, tiring, and critically, it requires a team, not a solo act.
A team effort.
Because reliable information, and it gives examples like consistent descriptions of grays or reptilians, the color of Mars, certain underground structures, common implant types.
Things that pop up repeatedly.
Exactly. That kind of potentially reliable data is only gleaned from thousands of sessions by many different hypnotized people. Only when info is common to all or almost all can you even start to consider it potentially reliable.
Thousands of sessions. Wow.
Yeah. And even then, the percentage of reliable info is judged to be very low, maybe lower than 3%.
So 97% plus is what?
Trash or junk information, according to this source. Contaminated, distorted, useless for facts.
That's a remarkably low hit rate. Are there other limitations, like trying to get info on a specific person, like this Pope Leo XIV?
Yes, big limitations there too. First, the person's subliminal self, their deeper consciousness, might just not authorize releasing info about them. Full stop.
Okay, a privacy block.
Right. And even if something seems to come through, entities might jump in. pretend to be the target person, and feed you distorted information for their own reasons. Another layer of potential deception.
So you might think you're talking to Pope Leo's energy, but it's something else entirely.
That's the risk outlined here. The source compares it to getting news from official, scrutinized agencies versus some random, unverified blog. Reliability and accountability are key, and they're absent in single sessions about third parties.
So how should investigation be done, if at all?
Focus on restricted spaces. Specific topics like the example given is pedophilia in the Catholic Church, rather than huge generic things like black holes.
Are restricted.
Because broad topics generate way too much data, most of it junk, impossible to filter reliably. You need to subdivide generic topics into very specific details to have any chance.
Makes sense. Narrow the focus.
So the true sense of investigative hypnosis, if you can call it that, isn't about trusting one session. It's about combining tiny filtered bits from tons of sessions across many people over time.
To slowly build the picture.
Exactly. Put all the puzzles together. It's a massive, painstaking, collaborative effort, not a quick download of facts.
Right. So this really puts that first source in a starkly different light, doesn't it?
It really does. We have this incredibly detailed, dramatic narrative about Pope Leo XIV, presented as if gathered factually via hypnosis.
Filled with specifics.
And then we have this other perspective saying that very method is absolutely useless for facts and riddled with contamination.
It's quite the juxtaposition.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do you, listening to this, discern what might be true or even plausible when the very method used to get the information is so heavily questioned?
Yeah, how do you weigh a really compelling, detailed story against a fundamental critique of how that story was obtained? Especially with these big world-altering claims that mix the spiritual and the political.
It's a tough question.
So we've gone from this deep dive into an extraordinary, frankly bizarre, esoteric account of a supposed future pope.
Metaphysical elections, non-human entities, global unification plans.
All the way to a really rigorous, critical look at the very method investigative hypnosis that allegedly produced it all.
Yeah, it definitely leaves you with a lot to process.
It does. And maybe the final thought for you, our listener, is this. In a world just saturated with information, often pushed as truth, no matter where it came from, how do you calibrate your own filters?
What does this whole exploration suggest about belief, about evidence, about discernment, especially when you encounter narratives like this that bridge the spiritual, the political, the deeply personal, and the potentially global?
Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.